Jahlil Dewan Morris McGilberry was born July the 25th, 2001. Jahlil was actually a very attached little boy. He wasn't really a crybaby or anything like that, but he was very, very greedy. And he loved contact. He loved to be up under me all the time. So he was a happy baby. He was actually born with 6 fingers and 6 toes. So a lot of people don't know that, but by the time he was 6 months, I had to actually take him to go through surgery, because even though that the rest of my family would actually have 6 fingers, Jahlil is the only child in our family that has 6 toes. But by the time he was 6 months, since he was so young and he couldn't go through surgery until he was 6 months, he actually had casts on his hands and casts on his feet. So what happened was he learned how to walk with the cast on his hands and the cast on his feet. So he was very strong. He was a strong little boy.
He was evil. Like that's the first memories that I have of Jahlil. Well, you know, maybe I shouldn't say first, but everything that I can recall, like from infancy up until that 10, 11 range, was like torture. Like, he used to do a lot of crazy stuff, man. Like, when he was 2 years old, right? I don't know how he did it, but somehow, someway, he managed to get on the counter and put a Power Ranger in the microwave for like, I don't know how long it timed it, but by the time we found out about it, the microwave was on fire. That's probably one of the most vivid memories that I have of Jahlil. Like, the stuff, he was always getting into something. That's what it was. If he had his hands on something, one way or another, he ended up breaking it.
He would always get in trouble. So I say, no, Jahlil, no, stop. So before I can get it out, if he see me come into the room, he would be like, no, Jahlil, no, Jahlil, no, Jahlil. So he would say that all the time, no, Jahlil, no, Jahlil. So he knew, just by me looking at him, he already knew he was in trouble.
We probably started getting close around the time he was 11, 12 or so, somewhere around that range. Before then, we weren't cool. But after he slowly started like transitioning into his adolescence, that was when we kind of became best friends.
Extremely energetic, very touchy. Like, even now, Jahlil's like, he'll put his hand on your shoulder or something, or give you a big hug. That's how Jahlil was coming up. Always wanted to wrestle, always wanted to slap somebody upside the head. Just miniature Kisha.
And Jahlil was like a ninja. Jahlil was everywhere. So you could be having a conversation, and after the conversation's almost done, you look back and Jahlil's right there. So he was very inquisitive. He wanted to know and hear what was going on. And it made him a lot more knowledgeable for his age than most people. He knew about stuff that people double his age didn't know about, because he always was around and he always was intent on listening. He always was listening to what was going on, what was being said. He was a little nosy.
He always wanted to play video games, always wanted to do something involving music, whether it's singing or listening to music. One time we were going over a friend's house. It was me, him, and Javon. And I put on some beats, like just some instrumentals, and he started rapping for like 7 minutes about eating wings in the club. And I'm like, you've never been to a club. What are you talking about? But it was entertaining. I actually have that footage. Yeah, he's a real character.
I used to take him to my house to study. So after studying, we would play pool, as well as he wanted to hit on the heavy bag at my house as well. And then he wanted me to wrestle with him and play ball. And it was funny because I used to say to him, Jahlil, I'm like 50 years old, and here I am, running around outside, rolling around in the grass, with you. We're gonna have a heart attack.
He loves to play ball. In his head, he's better than LeBron, and that's what I love about him, because even though he may not be good at something, Jahlil don't care. It's like, whatever, I love it, I'm gonna do it.
It was always fun watching him trying to learn the fundamentals of basketball, having such a desire and passion to do it, but not very good at it. And so I would beat him, and I had no mercy on him. I never let him win.
being outgoing was a challenge for him at school, right? He's a a kid that was very popular, and so having to be in control of his personality and his own actions, right? And understanding, okay, there's going to be good and bad possibly of those actions that I take. So I got to take a step back and think of what I'm doing.
That was one of the biggest challenges, was that since he had so much energy and he loved to talk and he was very active, I think for that time in his life, people didn't understand that energy. But he didn't know how to divert his energy into the right place. And I think, the biggest thing for him was that just authority, respecting authority at that time.
When I studied with him, he would have everything highlighted and everything, but as soon as you get past question 3, he's gone. And his mind's on everything. He wants to talk about what happened in the basketball game or whatever. He just never really focused in. And I think that kind of interrupted all facets of his life at the time.
Just the world in general, things that teenage boys are accustomed to doing in the world, as far as having girlfriends and things of that nature, not really focusing on spiritual things. That was right in front of him from people who have influence in his life, family members.
A big instrumental thing was the homeschooling, right? And then that gave him an opportunity to focus, right? Getting away from the distractions, say, of school, give him a chance to really focus. And that helped shape and change his personality.
And I think the biggest thing for me was jumping into something that I didn't really know, but I knew was going to benefit him. And I remember we would pray every day. Every day before he went out to school, we would pray to Jehovah. And that's something that I hope he always remember when he gets older. It was the best decision that I could have made for him, because it brought us closer. I mean, it was a big sacrifice, but the reward outbeat the sacrifice for me.
As a scripture that I like to read to him often, and it's one that's very encouraging along those lines about pursuing the kingdom first. It's at 1 Peter 5 and verse 10. I'm just going to read it. There it says, "But after you have suffered a little while, the God of all undeserved kindness, who called you into his everlasting glory in union with Christ, will himself finish your training. He will make you firm, and he will make you strong, and he will firmly ground you."
So from the little kid there who you just wanted to smack to the young brother that's baptized now, carrying mics and parts, and now, as opposed to him just being the, say, householder, now he's given the part. I've always talked to him about Avis and Nike, those mottos, and Nike, just do it. But my spin on that is just do it right the first time. Okay, so what does that mean to do it right the first time? Well, it means to pause and think about what it is you're doing. 5 W's and a how, okay? Maybe even reach out to somebody who's done it before, right? Avis, we try harder, right? So giving your best means only improve it all the time. You're gonna have to continuously do that. That means, feeding your mind spiritually first and your body, right? Take some time to, study, think about things, right? Research stuff. Don't just do stuff willy-nilly.
Yeah, he's grown a crazy amount since he's been little knowing Jahlil.
I have gradually seen Jahlil progressively grow into becoming more of a person that cultivates humility and actually listens and responds to things effectively when you tell him to. He hasn't always been that way. My brother, I think he can be kind of headstrong and stubborn at times, but I'm slowly starting to see that kind of peel back, which is a good thing.
When we'd go out and eat or something, and I said the prayer, and I remember him saying, a long time ago, "Oh, I can't wait till I can say the prayer, Brother Barr." And then, of course, when now he's a brother, and he actually forgot about it the first meal we had after he got baptized, and I, of course, I knew what I was going to do, and I said, "Jahlil, are you going to say the prayer?" And he got all nervous. Of course he did. What I was saying is, look, you're not praying to Brother Barr, you're praying to Jehovah. And then of course we had a chuckle about it, but it was something that I reminded him, hey, you know, this was something you said you wanted to do. And so now, you know, we go out often and I remind him, hey, okay, you're gonna say the prayer.
He's developed for himself a genuine love for Jehovah. And that's something he developed on his own. You can even hear it sometimes if you listen to him pray, certain things he says. Jehovah's real to him. He has a deep love for him, genuinely.
I love Jahlil for who he is as a person. I mean, he is a pretty amazing young man.
Jahlil's biggest strength is how much he cares about people. To this day, Jahlil calls me maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, and he'll just say, hey, I just want to see how you was doing.
You know, you see this 6-foot man-child, and yet he expresses himself emotionally, openly, and lets you know if he has affection for you. That's probably the thing I love about Jahlil the most.
I might mess with him a lot, you know, call him a biter, you know, because he's always trying to do certain things like me or dress a certain style like I am, you know. But at the end of the day, like just as he might be my biggest fan, I'm Jahlil's biggest fan. Like we'll vouch for each other for anything.
I love the fact that he loves me. Is that wrong for me to say it? I mean, I know, even though sometimes I feel like he's not listening, and he acts like he's not listening, I know he's listening. And he gets stubborn at times, and I know sometimes I drive him crazy, but one thing I can say is that Jahlil always, in the back of his mind, is listening, and he's trying to make me happy.
Everything. Everything. I love everything about my brother. I could never just kind of pick out one trait that he exudes about himself. I love my brother.
I got big plans for him. He probably doesn't even like me saying it, but I got big plans for him. He got so much potential, man. Anything he wants to do as far as service to Jehovah is at his fingertips if he applies himself and works hard for Jehovah.
He makes me proud. And I know he has a lot more potential that he expresses at times, and I know that he'll fulfill that in serving Jehovah. And so I'm just delighted to be a part of it and to look to see him continue to grow.
I would like to see Jahlil in paradise. I mean, that's where I would like to see him. More than anything, I just want to serve Jehovah and, you know, just do the best that he can. You know, no matter what he do, just as long as he put Jehovah first. That's what I like to see. Do not try to make decisions without Jehovah, you know, because if you do that, you're going to be running into a brick wall. Always put Jehovah first, no matter what. And also, try to have good association, you know. Have good association, pray. Pray every day. Always remember that you are nothing without Jehovah. That's the biggest advice I can give him.
I mean, it all comes down to love for Jehovah. Jahlil just having a deep ingrained love for Jehovah and love for neighbor, like Jesus said, the first 2 greatest commandments. If you have that down, the rest is easy. The rest comes naturally. Align your goals to Jehovah's will, and when you do that, you never feel like you're missing out on anything.
I think that with anybody young, especially in Jehovah's organization, it's easy to get sidetracked by what's going on in the world, what's going on with your friends, and the different things that they're doing. But if you stay focused on Jehovah, everything else is going to fall in place.
You don't know what you want all the time when you're that young, right? But think about a couple of things. Make a decision, but understand that it may change, and that's okay.
Always be ready to learn. You will never have all of the answers. Doesn't matter how old you are. And I think that really touches back on the importance of being humble. if you keep that mental attitude, you're always gonna be successful in life.
Jehovah has some work for him to do. I always encourage him that. I said, Jehovah ain't finished with you yet.
So guys, just want to thank you so much for coming to my graduation party. You know, it was lit. You know, I appreciate everybody, you know, coming out to support. You know, it's been a long journey, trials on the way. You know, it's not easy, but I did it, and I couldn't have done it without you guys. So I want to thank everybody, and you know, I want to also especially thank my mom for doing so much for me. You know, she definitely took out so much of her time, and I definitely could tell that she did so much that she didn't have to do. So I want to thank her for that, and also the fact that, you know, she was stressing out trying to make sure everything's, you know, right for me. It shows that she loves me, because not every parent is like that. So you gotta definitely appreciate that, and I know I couldn't have done it without her to support me on the way. So also I wanna thank you guys for, you know, just having a good time with me tonight and just enjoying yourselves, and you know, this is just the beginning.